Alright, so how many of you have ever, or will ever, take a test? Alright, as college students, that's all of us. But how many of you would like to do better on the test and spend less time studying? Today I want to show you 3 different things that I've noticed that can help you do that. Spend less time studying but still get better grades on all your tests. Now, I've always been a pretty good test taker. One story in particular that kind of brings that out. As a worker at UPS, I worked as a sorter. And sorters have to take this test. It's 169 questions of 4-digit numbers to colors. So you have to remember, based on that number, what color belt that box is going to go to, and you're reading a label. The test has the 169 questions, and you basically have 3 days to study for it. So I studied for it in 3 days, and I got a 100. That impressed the right people enough that later I was asked to teach that class. The average grade at the time that I took over the class was between 50 and 60%. After I started teaching, the average grade instantly jumped to 80 to 90%, because I was going to share some of these things that I'm sharing with you that really helped make the grades better than they were as these people were studying the test. So let's get right into 3 different things that can help you study for tests. The first thing is start early to create a structure of the information. And when I say start early, I mean start as soon as you start receiving information. A lot of students, they receive information in whatever form, whether it's a lecture or a video or whatever they're watching, and they do not think about the structure that the information is going to have. They take a piece of information and they write it down real quick, and they write another piece of information down and another piece of information down, and after a while it just kind of gets jumbled together and they can't remember or pull out anything from it later. I have a little illustration I'd like to do for that. Here I have different little Legos, and basically I'm going to take each of these to represent a piece of information. Let's bring these over here. So here you have a piece of information that you're going to receive, and another piece of information, and a lot of students, they end up with their information kind of jumbled together in this little pile here. But when it's like this, it's awfully difficult to pick it up a piece that you know you have in there, and to know what you're doing with it, and to recall that information later. But now watch, if I take containers like this, and I take a piece of information and put it here, and then put this one here, and I keep doing that with all the information I'm getting, all the little pieces. As I receive them, I take them and put them in a spot, and I structure the information again as I receive it. As I receive the information, structure it. Well, now what? Now my information's structured. Now I can look at it and recall a green piece if I need it. I know how many green I have and how many blue I have. Something like that, just a quick little illustration, but it shows how when you organize stuff, it's a lot easier to see what you have and to get something back later. So start early to create a structure of the information. The second one then, the second tip I have is don't just take notes, use them. It's pretty obvious that people in college take notes. That's kind of a given. You're going to take notes. But again, a lot of people who take notes don't even think about the information that they have. Don't even think about the information that's in the notes. They're just writing down whatever the teacher says. And when you do that, you're not going to understand what's on your notes. It's not gonna make any sense to you. You're just writing down facts. So one thing with that is you can highlight key points and terms. And I don't just mean with the yellow highlighter, go like this on every key point or term. I mean, in your brain, think, this is something I need to remember. You're more likely to remember it then. If you can stop and say, I need to remember this, this is important in your brain. And you may highlight it, but make sure you're saying that to yourself. This is important, I need to remember this. The second is, like I was just talking about, fit the information in your structure and restructure if you need to. So when you get that information, don't just write it down in your notes while you're writing notes. Make it into a structure. Make it into a way that you can go back and see it all together, nice there, in order, so that you can understand the whole thing and pull out what you need to later. And then keep your notes accessible for any type of reference. So if you have your notes, go back over it when you're not in class. And I don't mean spend hours and hours studying every day. And I don't mean spend hours cramming for a test at the end of the, right before you're supposed to take it. I mean, every once in a while, just pull the notes out, look through them 2 to 3 minutes when you have that time. It's not hard, but it really goes a long way to helping you make sure you remember the stuff that you have written down there. And then the third one is force yourself to recall often and in various settings. So again, the first, start early to create a structure of the information. Second is don't just take notes, use them. And the third now, force yourself to recall the information often and in various settings. So when you are driving in your car, when you are at work and you have a down moment, some time to think about some stuff, think about that test you're going to take. And instead of worrying about it, see, well, do I know the information that I need to know? What's the question that might be on the test? And you take that question and you see if you can answer it. And if you can, then good job. You're probably going to be able to get that right on the test because you're recalling it in various settings. If you cannot, well, go back and look it up. Make sure you know the information and then try to recall it again. Because a test is mostly about recalling information. It's not just about putting information in your brain. It's about being able to take it out when it's time to take it out. So again, we got these 3 different points. Start early to create a structure of the information. Don't just take notes, use them, and then force yourself to recall often and in various settings. I hope you can use these tips. I hope they can be helpful to you. If you have to, take them, tweak them a little bit, and use them so that you can get better grades on your tests, so that you can do better with less time studying. I mean, what student wouldn't want to do that?